There is this preconceived notion that Pilates is only for women.
How would you break it?
And I think the best way to break it is by making people aware of the fact that Pilates was a form of movement that was created by a man, Joseph Pilates, for men. And the men that he initially created it for were World War I soldiers whose muscles were atrophying and they were sitting in hospital beds, and therefore he was trying to rehab them.
Hi, I'm Aashnee, the co-founder of Meditourz, and welcome back to In Our Wellness Era. Today we're going to talk about Pilates, a word that's buzzing all over social media, and who better to dissect it than Radhika. Radhika owns Radhika Balance Body, a famous studio all across India, and trains famous clients like Sonam Kapoor. It's our privilege to have her with us today at Meditourz.
Thank you for having me.
So Radhika, you run Radhika Balance Body. Why did you choose Pilates as your physical well-being form?
So I got into Pilates by accident, actually. I was doing my fellowship in adolescent and sports medicine in the US, and I went to go type my notes, sitting down, getting ready to sit down on the chair, and the resident doctor by accident pulled the chair out and I fell, boom. It wasn't a very big fall because I'm all of 5'2", but it was enough to cause a little bit of damage to my tailbone. The doctor then said that you can't do anything high impact. At that point I was running, and so running was not an option, and he told me, why don't you try Pilates? Went to my first class and it was love at first sight.
So why should one select Pilates over other physical forms of exercise like yoga or gym, strength training, etc.? And what does Pilates really offer that the other forms of exercise don't really bring in?
So we never say it is Pilates versus yoga or versus strength training. I think it's Pilates plus yoga plus strength training, whatever it is that your body needs at that time. The one thing though that I will say that Pilates offers that maybe the others don't as much is a really strong focus on awareness of the body, number one. Number two, obviously core strength. And number three also is there's a big focus on the breath, which is similar to yoga, but the way we breathe in Pilates is very different.
So we know the types of Pilates. There are mat Pilates where we just use a yoga mat and usually do it on the floor. And then there is Pilates with equipment like the tower, the reformer, etc. So what's really the difference and what's meant for whom?
So it's never mat Pilates versus the Pilates apparatus. It always needs to be both. If you are working with someone who is strong and has no issues, then starting on the mat, building a really nice strong foundation, and then moving them onto the apparatus is always a good idea. But now on the apparatus, you get the assistance from the springs. So if you're working with someone from a rehab perspective, then putting them on the apparatus first is always better because mat Pilates is hard.
So what would a 1 hour Pilates session look like, and what can someone expect from it?
So I think the first thing is a lot of body awareness, right? You're going to become very aware of where you're standing, your posture, how you hold yourself. So that's number one. Number two, like I mentioned earlier, a really strong focus on breath, because breath facilitates movement. So there's a very distinct breathing pattern attached to each movement. And then a really good Pilates session has a nice combination of strength, mobility, balance, focus as well. So we love to do, if you're doing an exercise on one side and you've got to repeat it on the other side, a really good Pilates session will have the teacher not repeating the cues on the other side because you've got to focus and concentrate. So there's a lot of silence as well in the first session.
So you have some really good clients who also turn out to be friends to you now, like Sonam, who've been your client for donkey's years. Why do they swear by Pilates? What's the secret?
So I'll give you the story of Sonam, who came to start training with me 14 years ago. And when she first came, she had just come out of a double bout of typhoid. So she was very weak. Her immune system was shot. So she came to just build a little bit of stamina and strength. Then we went on to train for 9 films. And one of the films was where she had to wear a bikini. So that also, then the Pilates really helped her to get nice and lean for that. Went on to then get her prepared for her wedding. So again, looking a certain way. And then she trained throughout her pregnancy. So I think the bottom line is that Pilates is a form of movement that you can do at any time in your life. Anybody and everybody can do Pilates.
It's so versatile, right, Radhika? Like, imagine she came for a health reason, then for a job, kind of a career requirement, moving to something more personal with like pregnancy, where a lot of parents kind of struggle saying, oh, you shouldn't work out, or mothers have been told, oh, you shouldn't really work out or strain yourself during pregnancy, to like just the entire journey. She's been with you through it all, which is really interesting.
Yes. And I'm going to give a lot of credit to her mother as well. So I've been training her mother longer than I've been training her. And her mother's always been a big advocate of movement and exercise, and really, really helped to get Sonam into the entire groove of exercise. And so it was a lot of credit goes to her mother.
I think all mothers kind of push the daughter, right? Same in my case, I can say that, right?
Mother knows best.
Mother knows best. So, do you need a certain fitness level to do Pilates, or is it for everyone?
Pilates is for everybody. You have a neck issue, you can do Pilates. You have a lower back issue, you can do Pilates. You're pregnant, you can do Pilates. You're an active ager, you've got osteoporosis, men, anyone and everyone can do Pilates.
So, people who are gym rats, gym buffs, actually struggle with Pilates. They think, oh, it looks so easy. It's something that girls do. They wear like cute fits. But when they come in, they're like, oh, this is hard. Why is that?
So I think gym buffs struggle with Pilates because there is a focus, number one, on the smaller muscles, whereas in the gym, a lot of times you're working the big power muscles. So we have a focus on smaller muscles, number one. And number two, there's a lot of movement that is done with control, which means it is done in a slower manner. And I think that's really what gets to the gym rats, is the slow, controlled movements.
So why do men think that Pilates is a girl thing?
No offense to social media, but when we open up Instagram, all we see as far as Pilates is concerned is young girls in matching outfits, sipping matcha and going for their Pilates class. And therefore, there is this preconceived notion that Pilates is only for women.
How would you break it?
So, and I think the best way to break it is by making people aware of the fact that Pilates was a form of movement that was created by a man, Joseph Pilates, for men. And the men that he initially created it for were World War I soldiers whose muscles were atrophying and they were sitting in hospital beds, and therefore he was trying to rehab them.
Oh. Interesting. But still girls stick to it more than men.
And there's a reason for that as well, right? And the reason is that once World War I was over, the interim camp in which he was in was finally, I guess, getting disbanded. Joseph Pilates jumped on a boat and he was sailing across the Atlantic Ocean, and he landed in New York, and that's where he set up his first gymnasium, is what he called it, and the movement he called it Contrology. But where he set up his gymnasium was underneath the New York City Ballet Academy. Yes. So then his clients went on to become ballet dancers, and therefore the movement went from something being hoo, hoo, hoo to ha, ha, very dancer-like.
Got it. Yeah. Pilates is known to build core strength, and everyone likes a good six-pack. So can Pilates do that, or that's just what's Instagram selling to us?
Yes, I hate to be the one to break it, but it is Instagram selling it to you. And it's not that it won't build six-pack abs, but the important part about Pilates is that it's going to create the deeper strength, and that is this big abdominal muscle that is deep in your abs, which is called your transversus abdominis, which is a part of your inner core unit.
So to get optimal results or good results, how many times do you think someone should come in for Pilates?
So if you start doing Pilates 3 times per week, you're going to see some really great results within 1 month. If you come 2 times per week, you'll see results, but probably not as quickly as you would want. And we do have people who we refer to as our weekend warriors, and they come once a week, which is a day on the weekend. And for them, it's really just maintenance.
So one mistake that all your clients consistently make while doing Pilates?
It's the breathing, right? It's holding your breath, especially as we start to move into some of the more advanced exercises. Breath facilitates movement. So if you are breathing well, the movement gets much, much better.
So a lot of us do like a 9-to-5 job, we're constantly sitting on our desk, and that tends to create a lot of posture issues. I sometimes also have a lot of neck and shoulder pain. How does Pilates really help with posture and things like that?
So number 1 is the spinal mobility that we work on, and especially there's a lot of extension work that happens, which really helps to get your posture better. Number 2 is it's an awareness exercise. So as you practice Pilates, and if you go back to your desk and you're here, you'll very quickly realize, why am I sitting here? And you'll correct your posture.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a fantastic form of movement for people who have a regular 9-to-5 desk job.
Yeah. So the current lifestyles we lead, all of us are like stressed. How does Pilates really help with that? Or you feel that yoga and meditation is more tuned to solve that?
I think it needs to be a combination of the two, of both yoga and meditation as well as Pilates. And I would say Pilates plays a really, really great role because of, again, the breath work. So breathing can really, really help to calm you down. And the second thing also is that you're moving in Pilates, and movement or exercise releases endorphins.
Yeah.
Endorphins are your happy hormones, and therefore it can really help to reduce stress.
So a lot of people, weight loss is their goal, but Pilates actually changes your body in different ways and not necessarily weight. So how does that work?
I think it's a large part of this comes from getting rid of aches and pains. And especially if you've got bad posture, that means you've got misalignments. Misalignments create aches and pains. And Pilates is whole body integration, and it works because it works the entire body. You are rebalancing your muscles. When you rebalance those muscles, you can take away a lot of misalignments, and then when the misalignments go, the aches and pains are gone as well.
So if we have to tell our consumers or our watchers 3 habits that they can adopt outside the studio for better form in Pilates or better physical well-being, what would it be?
Number 1, most important, is 7 to 8 hours of undisturbed sleep. And when I say undisturbed, it means you don't even wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, because then it's disturbed. So that's number 1. Number 2 is making sure that you are eating fresh, you're eating seasonal, you're eating local foods. And number 3, I think again, really, really important, is your physical activity should be something that you enjoy doing. If you enjoy doing, you'll stick to it. You like dancing, join a Zumba class. You like something more calming and peaceful, do yoga and Pilates. You need an adrenaline rush, then go and play a sport.
So what is one of the biggest myths about Pilates that you want to bust today?
The biggest myth that I want to bust is that Pilates is only for ladies, and it is stretching and it is slow.
So I've always known, I've been told that it's a holistic approach. So of course physical well-being is important, but it also comes with the right sleep, like you mentioned, good nutrition, etc. So what would you say would be the right kind of nutrition you need to get the best outcome from Pilates or any physical well-being exercise?
So I think initially 80% of your results are going to come from nutrition. But as you start to get closer and closer to your goals, then that kind of flips and there's less of a focus on nutrition and there is more focus on your physical activity or your exercise routine.
Okay. One nutritional deficiency you see amongst all your clients that holds them back from getting the optimal results.
So we are a group of people that are obsessed with being fair and lovely, and therefore the biggest nutritional deficiency that I see is vitamin D.
So Radhika, is there something that we should feed our body before a workout or before Pilates, and some right nutrition that we need after Pilates? Is there any difference there?
Yes, there is. So because Pilates has a focus on the core and you are putting pressure on those deep abdominal muscles, you generally don't want to have something that is too heavy before. Maybe 1 hour before your Pilates session, you will have a fruit. But what is important is that after your Pilates session, within 45 minutes, you should be getting in a proper meal.
So everyone, of course, looks up to you. What is your personal physical well-being routine that you follow? Or what are your mindful activities that you do to keep yourself in calm and compose?
So Pilates, obviously, and that's almost every day. I swim, I run. The swimming is really great because no one can talk to me, so that's nice. The running is just the endorphins really kick in then.
Yeah.
I recently have found adult coloring books, which are really, really great. And I take to my sitar from time to time and play, and that's also something that I really enjoy.
So if someone can afford only one workout, would you tell them to choose Pilates?
But of course, yes. And no, all jokes aside, Aashnee, I think yes, because you have a little bit of everything. There's balance, there's coordination, there's mindfulness, there's strength, there's agility you can add in, a little bit of agility in certain ways.
Yeah.
So it does give you everything.
So thank you so much, Radhika, for doing this. I really learned something new today. I didn't know Pilates was started by a man for men. So if this resonated with you guys, please like it and share it. And don't forget to save it as well. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel.